It was just a phone, not an iPhone, just a phone. It was old, burgundy with lots of chips and signs of wear and tear, and it certainly was not smart. The keyboard could be slid out and back, but it was just a phone. I remember her panic when she walked into the house to drop the kids off. She was red in the face, talking fast, visibly upset. She explained that just earlier, during their regular breakfast and play at McDonald's, a ritual my sister and the kids had every time she came to visit when they were little, she had gotten up to throw away their garbage and play peekaboo in the play structure and returned to the table to find her phone gone. She searched everywhere and asked the employees if they saw anything, even considered searching the trash at McDonald's. She got home and asked if I would go back with her just to look again. As I nodded and headed towards the door in a shaky voice with glassy eyes, she explained, "All my texts from Dad are on that phone." It then became clear that it just wasn't a phone. It was as if in that moment she was losing my dad again. 13th century Italian Rabbi Menachem ben Benjamin Recanati once wrote, "People often value possessions as much as life itself. Therefore, when they lose something that has special distinction, they are likely to feel great pain as if a life has been lost. Those finding the lost object and failing to return it are great contributors to the distress and mental anguish of others." This week's Torah portion, Ki Tetze, contains 72 commandments, the largest of any number in the Torah. And these are the obligation to return lost property and responsibility to help those in need. The Torah is clear about the commandment to return anything we find that belongs to another person, be it an animal, a garment, or a cell phone. Likewise, the Torah instructs us to aid someone in need, and regarding these two obligations, we are told, you must not remain indifferent. And do not ignore it, you must help. These laws make sense to us. They're along the lines of treating others as we wish to be treated and just doing the right thing. It's hard to argue against these obligations, and really there does not seem to be much room for discussion. Our text elevates the commonsensical return of lost belongings and animals and enhances the moral expectation by instructing that if the person finding the property makes a profit with it before returning it to the owner, that the profit must be paid back when the lost property is returned. There's a classic old Jewish folktale about a man passing the door of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa and accidentally leaving some of his hens behind. "We must not eat their chickens or their eggs," Rabbi Hanina told his family. However, the eggs and the hens quickly multiplied, and there was just no place to put them. So Rabbi Hanina sold them and purchased goats. Sometime later, the man who had accidentally left his hens returned and asked about them. And Rabbi Hanina inquired if he had some sort of identification and could prove ownership. He did, and Rabbi Hanina immediately gave him the goats. Where these laws get more interesting is when we ask what obligations do we have if the lost property belongs to an enemy, or the animal in distress belongs to someone we dislike. Early rabbinic interpreters insist that whether the lost item belongs to one's enemy or friend, it must be returned. There is no conditional language about the offense one's enemy inflicted or length of time if the relationship has been strained. Only you must return the property. Nechama Leibowitz expertly suggests that the command to turn aside and help an enemy whose property is in danger is an example of how the Torah deals with the real world. It does not present a world where all people get along with one another or rush to care for one another's property. Instead, it takes into account the grim reality that people do not achieve the desired observance of "you shall not hate another in your heart." And even in the face of that reality, we are committed to live our lives in a certain moral way. The rabbis of the Talmud state this moral standard. If you are faced with the situation of your friend requiring help with his animal and also your enemy, your first duty is to aid your enemy. For in this we train and discipline our instincts. We're very good at doing the right thing when it works for us and when it is easy. Our Torah portion reminds us that an integral part of being Jewish is doing the right thing, especially when it's not our first instinct, especially when we don't want to, and especially when it is to help those who have hurt us. When we have been injured or feel that we have been treated unfairly, our response is to shut down, to move away, to become distant. Our self-preservation mechanisms go into full effect. But our faith demands us to remain engaged and connected even when it is painful and difficult. Jewish tradition calls upon us to work through the discomfort, to be resolute in doing the right thing. This message is especially powerful and important as we stand at this month of Elul, the month that precedes the High Holy Days, the month where traditionally we hear the sound of the shofar each day to awaken our souls, to prepare us, to remind us to be ourselves, our best selves. In the turning process at this Shabbat, we read our sacred our scroll that we must not remain indifferent. Many interpreters point out that this phrase may also be translated literally as "you shall not hide." The month of Elul is about coming out from the hiding places of our lives, turning back from the comfortable, complacency, easy ways that may be disingenuous, and facing the pain, facing the loss, facing the fear that we can again embrace our true souls, our best selves. The month of Elul calls on us to become more honest and more upright, more intentional and more connected. Indeed, in doing that which is difficult, we can become better. And on this Shabbat, as Alex and Sam prepare to chant Torah tomorrow and lead our congregation in prayer, they, in a new and more grown-up way, take on these sacred obligations for themselves. They are now called upon to grapple with the complexities and challenges of life and to make sound and thoughtful decisions based upon more than just their gut feeling. As bar and bat mitzvah, Sam and Alex are now commanded to consider what their faith calls upon them to do and more keenly recognize how their actions have the real ability to enhance or diminish the goodness and the justice of this world. And because I know them and have seen them and seen their heartfelt intention and the spirit that they bring to this bima, I feel so proud and inspired by the beautiful and important impact that they're already making and will continue to make in the future. On this Shabbat, as we read so many laws in the Torah, help us, O God, to live in fulfillment of the sacred and holy life that you set before us. And at this season of reflection, grant us the strength and inclination to begin examining our hearts and our souls so that we may return to our greatest selves and to you. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.